I have sort of a wacky idea, and it involves butterflies and my jigsaw. Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Charlotte from At Charlotte's House. Today I have a really fun, colorful project. I made this butterfly. It's made out of wood. It was under $10 and I can't wait to show you how. Stay tuned. This butterfly was a fun project that cost me $5 and gave me a chance to practice using my scroll saw. I was able to cut out the larger pieces with my jigsaw, and then the scroll saw was helpful for the smaller pieces. If you don't have a jigsaw or a scroll saw, you could use cardboard. Step 1 is to sketch out the basic butterfly shape onto a folded piece of newspaper to help keep it symmetrical. I tried to vary the sizes of each piece, but kept in mind that I would have to cut each one out, so nothing too small. Once I was happy with the design, I traced over each line with a thick Sharpie so I could see where to cut. Before cutting, I made sure to number each shape, and then I took a picture. Very important. I kept the butterfly folded in half and cut out each shape so there would be 2 identical ones for each wing. Remember to label, label, label. I'm using one 2x4 project board from the Home Depot. These project boards are in the trim and custom lumber aisle, at least they are in my store, and there's a section of these smaller pre-cut 2x4 pieces of plywood, lots of different varieties, but I find them much easier to maneuver than a full-size piece of plywood. I believe I'm using underlayment, so it has a nice grain, but it's still super thin, lightweight, and it costs like $5 a sheet. I used my jigsaw to cut out the butterfly itself and then all of the bigger pieces. For any smaller pieces, a jigsaw didn't feel safe, so I took my Ryobi scroll saw for a spin. This is the first time I'd used the scroll saw, and it was actually pretty easy to figure out. Do you like the angle of just my armpit? I am no scroll saw expert, but I put it in the same category as the jigsaw. It's a nice, not very intimidating saw to use if you're looking to get into power tools. I find that my jigsaw is overall more useful, but I love having them both. I used my palm sander to sand down all the edges, and then I laid them out onto the butterfly. Having a picture of my original sketch was really helpful here because all of the shapes started to look the same. I used regular old acrylic craft paint, but I watered it down a little bit so it ended up penetrating the wood and it feels a bit more like a stain. I was so eager to paint the butterfly pieces that I didn't get too much video of this step, but essentially I just mixed each color the way I wanted it and I painted it onto each shape. I'm not sure if this stain technique would hold up as well to any sort of wear and tear or weather, but obviously for an art project like this, it works totally fine because we are keeping this indoors. I laid out all of the pieces and then I carefully used wood glue to stick them in place. You don't need a lot of wood glue because this wood is really lightweight, but you want to make sure that you clean up any glue that squeezes out from under each shape, just so you don't get a messy, discolored edge. I went back and painted the edges of the butterfly with the contrasting color, and in hindsight, I wish I had done this to every single edge, but it works just fine on the outside of the butterfly itself. To hang the butterfly, I screwed 2 D-rings into the back of the wood. You want to make sure that your screws are short enough so they don't pop out the front of the butterfly. I actually made sure that I just lined up my screws with a shape that I had glued onto the wings so that I knew I had double the layers of plywood to play around with. Make sure your D-rings are lined up straight so that when you hang the butterfly, it's not crooked, unless you want it to be, in which case an angle could totally work as well. I hung this butterfly in my daughter's room. We have added a couple more details since I photographed it for the video. Needless to say, this project turned out exactly the way I planned, which doesn't happen very often, and I love it. I love the colors. I love that I was able to use a really readily available material, and it turned out great. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you click that little bell icon, you will get notified when I share videos in the future. Have a great day, everyone.